All right, here we go, guys. All right. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Saturday before Thanksgiving Day, one of week 4 of November. I feel like I say this at the end of every month, but like how are we at the end? How are we at the end of November? How are we in the holidays? I went to a tree lighting ceremony downtown Detroit last night, and there's like this part of me that's like so ready for the holidays because I love Christmas time. It's my favorite time of the year. But there's also a part of me that's like, just wait a hot second. Not ready for this year to be over. So wherever you are in your business, in your life, hello and welcome. I know a lot of you guys have some exciting things to celebrate. And we definitely will create space to do that today. I wanted to talk today about belief. And um, you guys know me, kind of one thing that I feel really passionate about and what I feel like is truly a goal of this space and everything that I'm doing just in terms of how I coach, how I show up, a big portion of my leadership is really centered around getting out of the fluff, right? And really honing into like how do we actually do the things that we keep hearing we need to do, right? So how do we become a new version of ourselves? How do we do the work? How? Um, and there is some of it that is energetic, that there isn't necessarily a tangible to it, but there are, whether it's information or understanding how the brain is working so that we can work with it. So I want to tell you guys a story that happened this week, just in terms of belief. So you guys have been here long enough. You guys have been on the Monday through Friday accountability call. Like we hear it all the time that if you don't believe something is possible, it's like it's not, right? Whether you believe it's true or not, like you're right. And I want to share an example, like a real life example of this about how the belief in something changes how we think about it, how we go for it, and truly the effort. And this is all unconscious, right? Because our belief system, for the most part, unless you're doing the work to bring your unconscious belief system into your conscious mind, all of this is what's happening in the background, right? 95% of our brain of what it's doing is not conscious to us. And so this week I was sharing this with Maura, who's here. But this is also, I don't know why this feels like vulnerable for me to share because it's a bit like, it's like a big, it's like, it takes vulnerability to dream big, right? So I have been renting the home that I live in for coming
I'm
up on,
sending you the link. I found it.
and we are going to mute. Sorry. Okay. All right, I don't have a link to share, but maybe she has a link to share for us. So I've been renting this house. This house, I gave birth to my daughter in this home. And I have since I left my childhood home, the home that I'm currently in right now, because on Saturdays I'm from my parents' house. But um, since leaving my childhood home, I have never lived any one place as long as I live in the home I live in right now. And so my goal has always been either to purchase this home, which has never been on the table. Every time that I release my or renew my lease, I've asked the question like, "Cool, can I just buy it?" Like I gave birth to my daughter in this house. I want to keep this house, and so while that is kind of now that's one option. I don't want to move around every year. I don't want my daughter to have that experience. I really love that I was in one place for my entire childhood. So it's always been a goal that I will be in this home and rent this home until I purchase a home. And so every time that I renew my lease or if I getting ready to, I've kind of been thinking future forward of like, okay, how long is it going to take me to get to a place where I can buy a home? Now, for those of you who know self-employment, I'm a single mom. I don't have another person. I don't have a partner who has a full-time job and has stable, steady income. And I've been self-employed for a really long time. And as you know, in self-employment world, right, on purpose, we keep our taxes, we keep our income looking really, really low. And so while I may be able to have the down payment, I've been paying my rent on time for my entire life. Um, I have a good credit score, right? The actuality, the possibility of me purchasing a home on my own, getting a mortgage, regardless of all the things that are working in my favor, um, it's not it's not likely. And even the companies that give mortgages to people who are self-employed that maybe they don't look at tax returns, I don't have the things that they need to qualify. So basically, what I recognized this past week, and I'll tell you what happened, I realized that I have been like dreaming or having this goal of something that my belief, because unconsciously I did not believe it was possible. And so what happens when we don't believe something is possible, we don't actually go for it. We don't actually move. We don't actually strategize. And so it's almost like we're like our unconscious mind and our conscious mind are kind of working in opposite directions, or like they're at least in different lanes. And so this past week, something came up, a conversation came up, where that entire thought process, belief system, possibility was altered. Um, and there was a family member who was willing to co-sign, but there were conditions, right? Get out of debt. Get out of debt by the time your lease is up, and I will co-sign on a mortgage for you. Um, and something happened in my brain that not only was I like, okay, like that would be cool, that would be awesome. Um, but in the hours and days after, what happened in my brain that I didn't notice really what was happening until the change happened is that I started to move in a new way. I started to make plans and to strategize what the next 6 months get to look like for me, because now what felt impossible, what felt like there wasn't a possibility for, now there was. And I would have told you prior to this that, yeah, that's what I'm moving for. It's what I'm going for. It's a big goal of mine. But I realized when the belief changed what the original belief actually was, which is that's not possible. So why would I go for it? Um, if this resonates, like if you guys have, is there something you guys want? Is there something you're going for? Like drop a one in the chat if you want something or are going for something, but you have an inkling or maybe you know that your belief system is that it's not possible or that it's not for you or it's not likely. So what happens in our brain, you guys, is that until we start to work on that belief, and we're gonna talk about how to actually work on that belief. We're not going to move for it. We're not gonna go for it. Um, and so this, does anybody feel like when you hear that, like change your belief system, like drop a two in the chat if you're like, okay, cool. I know exactly how to do that. Like two in the chat if you're like, I know exactly how to change my belief system. Three in the chat if you're like, nope. Saturday accountability. I'm committed. Okay. 2.5. I like it. We've got some tools, but maybe like it's not happening. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about it. Um, so step one, you guys, is awareness, obviously. I mean, if you are with what you're commenting already, my guess is you at least know that the belief isn't supporting the goal. But do you know what the belief actually is? And when I say that, there's like the surface level, the belief of like, it's not for me. I'm not good enough. Okay, cool. Like, have we gone? Do we understand that belief? Do we understand where that's coming from? Do we remember the very first time, if you guys were here when Rick so bravely put his hand up for some hot seat coaching? And I asked him a question about his child. He's like, are you serious? Like, yeah, I am serious. Like, what is the first time you remember feeling like you weren't good enough? Like you were a burden, like you were too much, too loud, too whatever, or not enough of whatever. um, the awareness piece there is huge. Now, the next thing that we have to do when we are wanting to subscribe, I think of it in terms of subscriptions, right? Black Friday, y'all. I love Black Friday. I am unsubscribing to all the things like stop, unsubscribe. But there's a few that are like, nope, I want to know about your sales, right? I want to know what you have to offer. So what are you subscribing to? And we gotta get really, really curious. And this word, I feel like sometimes people don't really really feel the gravity of what it means to get curious. And so we gotta like whether it's getting curious about what the belief actually is and where the belief is coming from, right? That awareness piece. But like it's changing the language and we can notice it, right? Like if you do voice memos or if you journal or if you have a friend that you talk to all the time, I highly recommend you guys, if you have a friend that you talk to all of the time about everything and anything, get on Voxer. Record every single one of those messages so that you can go back to them, so that you can hear how you're talking about things. Maura and I probably send 100 messages a day. I may or may not be exaggerating. Some days I don't think I'm exaggerating. And we are able to go back and listen. There are times I'm even like, Maura, go back and listen to how you just talked about yourself. Like, that's not gonna cut it. Record it, record all of it. We go back to conversations that we had a month ago, and I was like, how am I gonna do? How am I gonna issue 5,000? And then it's like, oh, okay, let me submit 28,000 instead. Okay. You can like see the path. We're gonna like someday get AI to like take all of it and like do something with it. But the curiosity. And so when we talk about that, um, it's the what if. We get out of this definitive language of it's not for me or it's not possible or I can't do that or I don't have the time. And we start to get curious. We hear Jim talk about this all the time, right? It's not I can't do that. It's how can I do that? What if I XYZ? What would it look like? But also, what are other people who have that, who are doing that, right? Getting curious there and asking questions, right? Showing up and asking questions. I have somebody in my life who oftentimes is like, well, I don't, it's always statements, right? I don't know why you think that. That's a statement. What if you said, can you tell me more about why you think that? Like, can you tell me where that thought process comes from? Now we're opening a dialogue. Now we're getting curious. Now we're digging in a little bit deeper. So, getting curious. And as we're getting curious, I talk about this a lot in terms of evidence. When we are in a space of curiosity and we can start to build that and become a curious person, this is like a way of being curiosity. And so when we are in curiosity, what we can start to do is be conscious about the evidence we're collecting. Whatever it is that you believe, your brain has been collecting evidence that that belief is right your whole life, or at least since the inception of that belief system in your first 8 years of life. So let's just say for your whole life, your brain has been collecting evidence that you're not good enough, that you're too much, that you're too busy, that you don't have time, that this other thing is more important. And every time it collects evidence, every time it sees something, it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So, y'all, this doesn't happen overnight. It can't. You are battling a belief system that's been strengthened. And you guys have probably had this experience. I know I have definitely in my coaching spaces, but I have had moments where I hear people telling me all the reasons why their belief is right when just yesterday something happened that totally disproves the belief. I had it. I submitted 27, just under $28,000 of business last month. And this month I'm like, I don't know if I can pay my bills. Like, how am I going to do this? Like, I don't know if excuse me. I was like borderline elite producer numbers. And the next month, I'm like, but here's all the reasons why I'm not good enough. So when we get into the space of curiosity, we get to choose what evidence we're collecting. And I literally, like, I don't have it near me, get you an evidence journal, get you a notebook, and start writing down the evidence that you have. And you can go back in your life. So if you're not good enough, cool, make a list of all the reasons, all the experiences you've had in your life that actually disprove that. So that when you're feeling that way, you can go to that list and like, yeah, but I was on the honor roll, but I graduated number one in my class, but I got into a number two art school in the country. Well, I got into number one too, but I turned it down. I got a scholarship to art school, number two arts. Like you can start to remind yourself that like, actually, no, I'm smart and I'm capable and I'm dynamic and I'm good with people, right? You can start to collect the evidence. And as you have the evidence, the other side, write that down and cross it out. Write it down and cross it out. The other thing that we can do, I know we're over time, so if you guys got to go, I get that. I also told you guys I would hang out for a little bit. Didn't do it last week because if you were here last week was a doozy. But the other thing that we can do as we are creating a new belief system, yeah, affirmations are cool. They do not work on their own, right? If you just wake up every day and say, I am an AO, that is not gonna be enough, okay? So yes, have your affirmations. Get really, really clear on what the belief is that you want to subscribe to. But the other thing is that we get to borrow belief. And this one's a little bit less tangible because it's like, okay, I had this experience though. I had my birth chart read and by an astrologist, and I also had my human design when I first got into human design. And both of them said things about myself that I did not believe that to be true about myself. But like they're saying that it's in my design, they're saying it's in the stars, they're saying the universe, like that everything is conspiring for this thing to be true about me. And I didn't believe it. But honestly, y'all, who am I to say that God, the universe, the stars, an expert, who am I to say that they're wrong? Like, maybe I'm wrong. And maybe all of them that are saying all the same things, my friends, my mentors, God, the universe, my design, my astrology, my person, all of these things are saying the same thing about me. Come on, y'all. Like, that's where we get to borrow the belief and to, again, get curious. What if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong about myself? What if these stories that I'm telling myself are lies? Because they are. I feel like I could keep going and get really heated, but we're at time and that's okay. But I really just like, this does take some, you can't just like think of like, okay, I want to have a different belief system. Like this takes work. This takes time every day to focus on. Maybe it's not every day, but like if you have 6 days out of the week and you are spending time in your journal getting clear on what you want to believe and why you have the evidence to believe that, you will start to see that shift. In the past week, I went from there is no way I'm going to be able to buy a house in 6 to 9 months to it is possible. Here's the plan. Let's fucking go. That's the energy we need. That is what we need to sink into. And not every belief is going to change with a like, here's a person that's just going to change everything for you. But in that moment, I recognized what my belief actually was doing to my motivation, to my discipline, to my goals, to my strategy, to my plan. It was sabotaging all of it. And so now I'm like expelling all this energy and for what? Right? And so we gotta work on this belief. So I'm gonna hang out for probably 10, 15 minutes. If anybody has questions, I don't think there's anybody here from my team. Yep, Valerie's here. Valerie has her own, she's already like on her own. She's like self-sufficient. I don't even I don't even know if she's okay, sorry, many things happening in my brain. Hang out if you want. I'm going to stop the recording, but I'm here and I'm available for my team or for anybody else who wants to hang out, who wants to ask questions, who wants my take on anything. Otherwise, if you're going to be a weekend warrior and you're getting your day started, happy Saturday, happy day one of week 4, happy Thanksgiving week. I love you guys all so much. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you guys next week.